Okay, you're back with us, Republica. We're still talking to Senator Rodolfo Biazon. So, the Japanese visited you 5 times.
Yes. And they asked about the Philippine position on that dispute.
Yes.
And I said, we have filed and there was not yet a ruling nung pumunta sa akin. We have filed the case before the Permanent Court of Arbitration in
The Hague.
In The Hague.
The Hague, yes.
You know. And I said, if we are looking at a resolution of the dispute, I said, we have, kasi by that time, this Chinese claim was already
Active.
active.
Yes, yes.
They were building
Yes.
islands already.
Yes, yes.
So they got worried.
And this was the time when when the Chinese were saying, "Oh, that's just to an area where our fishermen can hide during the storm." Hindi pa yun, di pa?
Iba yan. Yeah. Later na yun.
Later na yun,
Later na yun. So I said, if we are going to challenge what the Chinese are doing here, we need to unite, especially those claimants.
Yes.
You know, of course, Japan is not a claimant.
Yes.
But I said, we need to bring out the importance of the legal steps.
Yes.
You know, for example, I said, if there is anybody directly affected already by the Chinese declaration of
Nine-dash line.
defense, air defense identification zone over Senkaku Island, you are immediately
You're involved.
kasi you are claiming Senkaku Island.
Yes, yes.
And there is already declared by the Chinese this and I am glad that hindi pa ginagawa yan sa
Dito sa atin.
Spratlys. Doon sa Spratlys. Sa Senkaku Island lang.
Pero papunta I think we're going to that direction.
Exactly.
Okay.
I think so. No? So I said, maybe we need to work out to unite those interested. And almost the whole world is interested.
Yes.
Because the movement of goods and commerce
Yes, is in that area.
people is there.
Yes.
No? Middle East is
Yes,
affected,
yes,
the European
everybody,
Union is affected. As a matter of fact, lately,
Pati freedom of navigation.
yes. Lately, nag-deploy ang Britain and France some ships to the area.
Yes.
Ano, ayaw ko kung pumasok na doon sa disputed area, pero I think they are already here in the region. Nandito na sila sa region.
The previous administration did the right thing by coming up with this case and winning it.
Exactly. Exactly.
This brings us to the point now. I notice, Mr. Senator, diplomatically and legally, we have footing. But in the diplomatic world, in the geopolitics, of course, this has its own weight, no? Its own gravitas. But as a military man, you also know that you need to carry a big stick to enforce your diplomacy.
Exactly.
Wala ho tayo.
And this is what I asked the Japanese. I said, maybe Japan can take the lead in uniting in interest
Okay.
to the nations that are interested, especially in the region.
Okay.
I'm ASEAN, Korea, Japan, Taiwan, even the Australians.
Yes.
You know, I asked the Australians in The Hague because they were there. I mean, so I asked, maybe we have to get together to discuss a united front among interested nations to challenge what the Chinese are doing in this Spratlys. Not only in this Spratlys, but including Paracels.
Yes.
And basically the whole of
South China Sea.
South China Sea. I said, and here they are great, no?
Yes, yes.
yes. But of course, to mobilize a formal
Yes.
gathering to try to resolve. I would like to go back some years to 1994.
Yes.
I was saying kanina, when President Ramos was elected president, And that was the time when the UNCLOS was put into effect
Yes.
in 1994.
Yes.
That was the time when President Ramos went to meet with the Chinese President Xi Jinping.
Okay.
No. Luckily, I asked if I could be allowed to ask 2 questions.
Questions, okay.
Alright. Sabi ni President Xi Jinping, yes, Mr. Senator.
Yes, oh.
Yeah, you can ask
Anong
2
tanong ninyo?
questions. Number 1 question.
Oh.
Mr. President, I ask,
Oh.
there is a rumor that China is buying an aircraft carrier from a European country. He said, you are right, Mr. Senator. That is a rumor.
Yan ang sagot.
Oh, yung sagot niya. China, he said, is not going to trigger an arms race in
Okay.
our region
Okay.
because our resources, Asian countries, need to be used for economic development.
Okay.
So we are not going to trigger.
Okay.
So that was a rumor.
Okay.
Sabi niya. Then I asked, Mr. President, the second question is, can you favor us with your thoughts on how to resolve the dispute in the South China Sea?
Okay.
Good question, sabi ni President Xi Jinping. Since 1988, sabi niya, China was pushing for a joint exploration and development of the area.
Okay.
Sabi niya. So sabi ko, Mr. President, are you referring to an arrangement and an agreement similar to the agreement between Australia and Indonesia? Because at that time, East Timor was still
Yes.
Indonesian control, no? So sabi niya, are you referring to that arrangement?
Yes.
For a joint exploration and exploitation of the area where Indonesia and Australia agreed for that arrangement without having to pursue a resolution of the ownership of the East Timor Gap.
Okay.
The East Timor Gap,
Yes.
you know,
Yes. So.
and it is reportedly rich in oil, in mineral. So there was an agreement between Indonesia and Australia. I did not study it further, pursue it further.
Ano ho sagot nila?
And he said, yes.
So they're just interested in exploration,
Exactly.
development, joint.
Now, but the question is this. Nobody, I think, has a handle on what the Chinese really want.
Okay.
Simple. Sabi, hindi ka bibili ng aircraft carrier.
Pero bumili sila eh.
And then after a while, there is the Russian aircraft carrier.
That became the rumor. That became the rumor.
Hindi. And there is another rumor, and I think this is already confirmed,
Another,
that they are building their own aircraft carrier.
and they're copying the original one as usual.
Exactly. So, who knows
What the real objective is.
the real objective?
Okay. Let's even assume that we don't know the real objectives. It is something that they have to decide on. Again, Senator, we have taken care of our previously legal, diplomatic initiatives. And it has brought us to this.
Yes.
Shouldn't we be preparing at least some way, somehow, the way Lapu-Lapu prepared with Magellan?
Well,
Some kind of...
to me, the mention of war should not have been made.
Okay.
The focus should be
Defense.
a rule of law. Rule of law.
Not even defense.
Well, you should not even focus on that. You can do it, but
You're saying by using the term rule of law, you can actually put already your facilities.
Exactly.
It makes a lot of sense.
Exactly.
It makes a lot of sense.
Don't talk of war.
Don't talk about
or the
defense.
possibility of a war.
Talk about the rule of law.
For example, I am sad, regret, to hear the Secretary of Defense saying, wala naman tayo magagawa dyan eh.
Yes.
You don't have to say that.
Oo.
What you pursue is the ruling by the International Court.
What?
Now,
Is it an exasperated reasoning already? Yung para bang, wala na time, I mean, this is, naubusan na ng,
excuse me.
naubusan na ng dahilan, kaya yan na lang ginagamit, matatalo naman tayo, this is suicidal, etc.,
You don't
etc.
have to say that.
Parang nawawala ho tayo ng,
Whatever.
we're losing our self-dignity in that sense. As a
Yes.
country, as a nation, as a people.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, the question is, how do the other countries
Perceive
look
us.
at us
Oo.
because of those what's coming out there?
Tayo na mismo nagsasabi.
Wala na kami magagawa.
Oo.
No, may magagawa pa. And here comes, and here, I would rather hear the Secretary of Foreign Affairs
Okay.
than the Secretary of National Defense on the issue. The National Defense siguro will say, oh, we are conducting a patrols.
Oo.
Pero hindi mo na kailangang sabihin,
Hindi natin
mahina
kaya.
ka, hindi natin kaya.
Oo. Talo tayo.
You know, there was a time when I was in the House and this issue came out, I was proposing for us to organize our fishermen
Okay.
accompanied by naval or Coast Guard patrols
Okay.
to show the world
We are committed.
that we are committed to defend in whatever way we can
Oo.
our interest there.
Oo.
Because the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea defines of course yung hanggang ba ano bang extent ng interest,
Oo.
ano, territorial waters, contiguous seas. Territorial waters is 12 miles.
Yes.
Contiguous seas, another 12 miles. And then, exclusive economic zone is 200 nautical miles, 370 kilometers.
Yes.
Right? And all the islands we are occupying are well within
Yes.
the definition. Kaya nga, nung inotor ko yung baseline law, I had that studied.
Yes.
Pinag-aralan mabuti yan.
Mr. Senator, comments such as this, that it is suicidal, talo na tayo, hindi tayo mananalo.
Uncalled for.
This is self-fulfilling.
Uncalled for.
We are telling the whole world that we are not ready to defend our territory. Is
So
that
anong tingin sa atin ng ibang bansa?
will this invite other intruders into our country?
Now, let me go back to a statement I made
Oh,
a little while ago. If we are going to pursue our interest in the area, we need to ally with countries in similar and expand that beyond to other countries.
okay.
All right? Because here we are looking at the rule of law, international law,
Okay.
as the weapon.
Aha.
Not an aircraft carrier that
Yes,
we cannot
yes.
afford.
Yes, yes.
So it's our weapon is the international law.
Okay. Okay, agreed, Senator. But let me ask you, as a former chief of staff, we must also fix our runways. We have to put lighthouses. We have to augment our personnel contingent in those areas.
Agree.
Missiles. Should we buy missiles? Or put, helicopters? Or put the missiles in Palawan?
Let me go back to the statement of President Shemin. China, of course, believing that he was sincere, is not going to trigger an arms race.
Hopefully, he meant that.
Right. You know what we need to do? Tama ka dyan, airstrips. Number one, lighthouses.
Okay.
Because the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea provides that if you have a lighthouse there, that is a factor in the determination of the extent of your interest.
Okay.
But basically, it's the 200 nautical miles exclusive economic zone. You can measure that, you know, and all our islands are well within. You know, when I planned and conducted reconnaissance of the area before we occupied it.
Okay, we're going to pause for a few reminders, then we'll get back to that when Republica returns.